There are moments in life that whisper instead of shout. You walk into a space and something shifts. No one says a word, but eyes pause, conversations hesitate, and energy moves, almost like a subtle wave passing through the room. You felt this before. You might have even caused it without realizing it. It's not attention. It's not ego. It's not about being the loudest or the most visible. It's something else. A quiet gravity, a presence that bends the air without force. Most people can't explain it. They'll say, "There's something about you," but they won't finish the sentence because they can't. That something isn't on your face. It's not in the way you dress or move or speak. It's beneath all of that. It lives in the silence between your words, in the pauses you allow, in the calm certainty behind your eyes. It's the kind of presence that isn't taught. It's remembered, not remembered by the mind, but by the soul. Because what people feel, what draws them in, is not performance, it's coherence. It's when your outer presence aligns with your inner truth, and that is rare. And because it's rare, it's unforgettable. Some call it energy. Others call it spirit. Jung might have called it individuation, the return to your true self after peeling away everything that wasn't you. But even he knew it wasn't meant to be fully explained, only recognized. And once you see it in someone, you never unsee it again. They could be standing quietly in a crowd, saying nothing, and still something in you turns toward them. Not because they want to be seen, but because they're not hiding. There is no script to follow here. No trick, no technique. Only truth lived long enough to become effortless. You don't chase this kind of presence. You remember it. You clear space for it, and then you let it speak without sound. And if part of you is still listening right now, still feeling something you can't quite name, then maybe, just maybe, this message wasn't random. Maybe it found you because it belongs to you. And maybe deep down, you've known this all along.
There are sensations we carry quietly, subtle, persistent echoes that trail us through life. You might not even have words for them. It's that feeling you get in the middle of a crowded place, surrounded by noise, yet you feel strangely alone. Or that flicker of weight behind your eyes when you smile at someone, and it feels genuine, but there's a hidden tiredness underneath. It's not sadness, exactly. It's something more delicate, a kind of spiritual fatigue, as if your soul has been holding its breath for too long. And then there are moments, rare and unexpected, when all of that disappears. When you step outside and the air feels different, when time slows down just a little and you feel right, aligned, at home inside yourself, even if just for a heartbeat. These fleeting moments aren't accidents. They're invitations, quiet openings from within, reminders that your soul is still awake, still reaching for something more. We don't talk enough about that space between longing and fulfillment, that inner tension that pulls us in two directions. On one side, the person we perform for the world. On the other, the one we only meet in silence. That hidden self, the one that doesn't care about image or success or validation, is where the light lives. And when you lose contact with it, you don't just feel tired. You feel misplaced, like you're living inside someone else's life. But when you reconnect, even momentarily, something shifts. Your breath deepens, your shoulders relax, your gaze softens. And people notice, though they can't explain why. They say you seem calm or lighter or magnetic. But the truth is simpler. You're no longer fighting yourself. That invisible war between the self and the soul dissolves. You become congruent, whole. Carl Jung once said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And yet that's where true healing begins. It's not about fixing, altering, or upgrading yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. That self, the real one, never disappeared. It only quieted down. And when you start listening again, you remember things you didn't even know you had forgotten. The soul speaks in subtle ways, not in loud declarations, but in gentle urgings. It shows up in the moments you can't explain. When music brings tears without warning, when you look at someone and feel deeply seen, when nature silences your thoughts. These aren't coincidences. They're soul responses. They're signs that underneath the noise, something sacred is trying to make its way back to the surface. And when it does, when you stop running, stop pretending, stop overcomplicating, it feels like coming home to yourself. Not the self you present, the self you are. That reunion is the real miracle. It's what gives people that unspoken glow, that timeless quality, that calm that doesn't need to impress, that beauty that isn't loud but undeniable. You may not have language for what you're feeling. That's okay. You're not alone. Many people carry the same quiet ache, a yearning to feel real again, to feel deeply, to remember what matters. If you've ever stared at your reflection and wondered why it feels like something's missing, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because your reflection doesn't capture the soul. But the soul can still be felt through presence, through truth, through those small moments when you let yourself be seen, fully, imperfectly, beautifully. And when you begin to live from that place, you don't just look different, you become different. Your rhythm changes, your decisions deepen, your interactions soften. You move through the world as if you finally stopped hiding. There's nothing mystical about this. It's not reserved for the enlightened or the few. It's a return to what is most natural, a return to the wisdom that's already in your body, in your breath, in your bones. You don't need to become someone else to access it. You need to remember who you were before everything you've been told to be. And in that remembering, something beautiful happens. You start to radiate a quiet power, not loud, not showy, but unmistakable. People sense it. They pause. They listen more carefully. They trust you without knowing why. That's the energy of a soul in alignment. It doesn't manipulate or perform. It simply is. And that is enough. It's more than beauty, more than youth, more than words. It's presence. And presence, when rooted in authenticity, transforms everything it touches. So if you've felt a restlessness lately, if you've been questioning your path, your pace, your place in the world, let this be a reminder. You're not lost. You're being called back to yourself, not the old self, the true self, the one that never aged, the one who still remembers wonder, the one who doesn't chase worth, but lives it. The signs are subtle, but they're everywhere. In the peace you feel when you stop pretending, in the ease that enters your body when you're honest, in the way your laughter changes when it comes from the heart. That's the soul waking up. And once it does, you can't go back to sleep, nor would you want to. Because the truth is, everything you've been searching for, belonging, joy, meaning, it doesn't live out there. It lives in you, buried under years of performance, perfectionism, and people-pleasing, but still alive, still waiting, still yours.
There are moments, fleeting, almost invisible, that pass through our days like whispers. A glance from a stranger that lingers a second too long. The silence between your own thoughts that suddenly feels louder than noise. The ache of something missing, though you can't quite name it. And in those moments, you wonder, am I really here? Is this truly me? Or have I, somewhere along the way, drifted from the person I was meant to become? You see, we don't age only in our bodies. We age in our forgetting. We age every time we abandon the questions that once gave us meaning. Every time we trade wonder for routine. Every time we silence the small voice inside that dares to feel more, live more, be more. But there is another path, a quieter one that doesn't scream for attention, but calls you inward, toward your truth, your center, your soul. It's a path of remembrance, of peeling back the layers of performance and returning to the raw, unfiltered presence that was always yours before the world taught you how to hide. And maybe you felt it, that subtle dissonance, the sense that the life you're living is just slightly out of tune, that you're smiling but not quite feeling, that you're surrounded but not truly seen, that something essential has been misplaced. Not lost, just buried. You are not alone in that feeling. Many carry it silently. It lives behind polished images, curated timelines, and practiced answers. But beneath it all, there's a shared hunger for something real, a longing not for more success or recognition, but for wholeness, for the kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstance, for a life that actually feels like yours. And here's the truth, that life is not something you find, it's something you remember. It's been waiting for you, not in some distant future, but in this very breath, in the stillness between distractions, in the honesty you've been afraid to speak, in the parts of you that have been quiet for too long. This is not about returning to who you once were. It's about becoming who you really are. It's about calling back every part of yourself you once exiled in the name of survival, your wonder, your wildness, your grief, your joy, and letting them breathe again. It's in this returning that people begin to glow, not because their skin is flawless or their posture perfect, but because something inside has aligned, and that alignment radiates. It softens the eyes, it lightens the step, it warms the room before a single word is spoken. It doesn't demand attention, it simply is. You've probably met someone like this. They don't talk about transformation, they embody it. They don't need to say they've done the work, you can feel it in how they pause before they speak, and how they listen without judgment, and how their presence makes you want to be more honest with yourself. These people aren't special, they're just awake. And you can be too. Because awakening is not a destination, it's a decision, one you make again and again, each time you choose to face your shadow with compassion, each time you stop running from the parts of you that ache, each time you honor your intuition instead of dismissing it. That choice, subtle as it may seem, changes everything. You don't need to escape your life to begin again. You don't need a dramatic break or a perfect plan. You just need a willingness to be with yourself, fully, gently, truthfully. From there, the soul begins to stir. And when the soul stirs, life responds. You'll start to notice the beauty in small things again. The way sunlight dances on the wall, the comfort of your own breath, the quiet strength in forgiving someone who never said sorry, the power of telling yourself, I'm still here, and that is enough. Healing is not a race, and it is never too late. Every scar, every sorrow, every moment you thought broke you was actually carving space inside you for something greater, for clarity, for depth, for love not based on approval, but on presence. The most beautiful people aren't the ones who've avoided pain. They're the ones who've transformed it. And maybe that's you. Maybe without realizing it, you've already begun this path. Maybe the very fact that you're still listening means something inside you is ready to return, ready to feel, ready to let go. Not of your age, not of your past, but of the illusion that you are anything less than whole. You are not here to fit into someone else's story. You are here to remember your own, to walk it fully, to honor it fiercely. And when you do, something timeless awakens. Something no mirror can reflect, no filter can enhance. Your light, your truth, yourself. So, if this voice has stirred something in you, don't silence it. Stay with it. Let it guide you deeper. Let it be the gentle pull toward yourself. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are right on time for the life that was always meant to be yours. And if this message touched you, if something in your heart whispered yes, then let this be more than just another video. Let it be a beginning. Subscribe, not just to this channel, but to your own soul's unfolding. Join us, comment below, tell your truth. And if you know someone who feels quietly lost, someone who needs this reminder, share it with them. Be the mirror they've been missing. Because when one soul remembers, it sparks others to do the same. And together, we begin to rise, not as perfect beings, but as whole ones. Not chasing youth, but embodying it from the inside out. Not hiding from life, but finally stepping into it, fully, honestly, radiantly, exactly as we are.